Greetings. This is Derrick Ruiz, and I'm a senior transition specialist with Mom's House. As you may know, we help placement agents and care communities transition mom or dad into their new care community. We do a lot of things to help families and mom and dad transition, but one of the main things we do is to purchase the home so that we'll free up the cash that can pay for mom or dad's care community. We specialize in helping families that have homes that need a lot of work. A lot of them are fixer-uppers. They haven't been remodeled. A lot of the houses we buy are hoarder homes with a lot of clutter. A lot of times the family or kids don't live nearby, so they need extra help. A lot of these homes cannot be sold in a traditional way with a sign and a realtor because they're just too rough and they're too cluttered and they just need too much work. We come in, we can buy the property as is for cash without realtor commissions. We pay the closing costs. We can get it done in 2 or 3 weeks. And this helps the family get the money quickly to help mom or dad get into their care community. So we're always working with placement agents and senior care homes to help facilitate the sale and get mom or dad moved in quick. Now, a lot of the deals that placement agents and care communities bring us can be very difficult. Let's discuss some of the issues that often pop up when we're trying to purchase a home and how I solve them so mom or dad can get the cash to move into their new community. The first issue that pops up is who is going to handle the paperwork for the sale when it's time to sell the home. If mom is not really capable of handling all the paperwork and doing a sales transaction, my advice is to have mom or dad notarize a power of attorney to give a daughter, a son, or a trusted family member the authority to sell the property and make decisions on their behalf. Now, the power of attorney has to be very specific, and it's only to be used for selling the home, nothing else. A lot of times, a son or a daughter may send me over the power of attorney that was executed, say, 5 or 10 years ago. And I look at that power of attorney and realize the title company is not going to accept it. It's not specific only for the property, or there's some other issues, or it wasn't signed properly. There's a whole host of issues that can go wrong. So we're going to have to execute a new power of attorney so the title company will accept it and ensure title to the property for the new buyer. Now, keep in mind, mom or dad have to be of sound mind in order to sign and notarize a power of attorney. Obviously, if mom has, mild dementia or something and is not capable of making those kinds of decisions, she probably will not be able to use a power of attorney to sell the house. In that case, it may have to go into a conservatorship, and you don't want to do that if at all possible. It's very expensive and it takes a long time. So I always recommend, if you think you're going to be in this situation, or if you're a placement agent and you think that the family's going to be in the situation, it's best to get that power of attorney done as soon as possible. Don't wait any longer. If mom or dad could be possibly, slipping into dementia or something like that, it's going to be too late. So as soon as you know that this is a possible situation, try to get the family to do the power of attorney as soon as possible before it's too late. The second issue that often pops up that can derail or delay a sale is when there are title problems, such as federal or state tax liens on the property. Maybe a loan is still on the property when it was paid off years ago. I often see ex-spouses on the title report because they were never removed after the divorce was finalized. Sometimes I see a quit claim on the prelim, and it wasn't executed properly. And the title company may say, we're not going to accept that the property was quit claimed from another person because they didn't do it right. So then we have to chase down that ex-spouse and get them to sign all over again. And believe me, that can be a big hassle. Let me show you an example of one of my senior clients that had about $400,000 worth of state and federal tax liens attached to her property from her ex-husband, even though they had been divorced for years and he was no longer on title on the property. And I'm going to show you how I solved that problem and got my title company to remove all the state and federal tax liens so she's able to sell the property now. Okay, let's take a look at this preliminary title report for one of my senior clients who owns a fourplex in LA. Okay, these were the items that were on her preliminary title report before I cleaned it up for her. As you can see, they took out a loan in 1999. That's still legit. It's not paid off yet, so of course it shows up. Okay, here's the first one right here. Notice of federal tax lien in the amount of $92,000. That was recorded in 2013. They got another federal tax lien for $134,000. You can see there's a tax lien right here for the state of California Franchise Tax Board for about $7,000 here. And another tax lien for the state of California for $112,000. That was filed in August 3rd, 2022. The issue with this person, my client, is that her ex-husband, who's not on title, has a lot of tax problems, and they're trying to attach these liens to her property even though they're divorced and he no longer owns the property. So let's take a look at the new title report and I'll tell you how I got everything removed. Okay, so we got the liens removed from this property, and you can see that the only thing left is that original loan for $175 taken out in 1999, and that's it. End of exceptions. All the liens are gone. We successfully got everything removed. Basically, what I had to do was go to the courthouse, get the divorce decree, send it to the title company, and they realized it was not her liens, it was her ex-husband's liens, and they shouldn't be on title. So now my client is able to sell her property because the liens are gone. So folks, that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. When it comes to title issues, I know how to take care of them so the property can be sold. Mom and dad can get their money and move into their new care community. Another issue that can pop up frequently is a roommate or a tenant or a family member that's residing in the property and they don't want to move and they feel entitled to stay in the property because, mom promised they could stay and not pay any rent. And they don't want to participate in helping us sell the property because they know the longer that they stay there for free, the better it is for them. This is very common and I see it all the time. Now, if it's a tenant situation and the property is a rental, we have a whole host of rent control issues that we are going to have to abide by. As you know, during COVID, there was a lot of restrictions placed on rental property owners. You couldn't evict tenants because of COVID. You couldn't raise rents, etc. So I'm going to have to look at the lease if there is one. I'm going to talk to the tenant, find out the situation. Hopefully they're cooperative. Maybe they're not cooperative, but I'm an expert at dealing with tenants that are in this property. I've sold a bunch of apartment buildings. I've dealt with tenants my whole career. I know how to handle this. Now, it's a little different situation if it's a family member or a roommate situation that was living with mom and they're probably not paying rent and they're going to try to milk this as soon as possible. There's a lot of ways for me to deal with it, but it just depends on the situation. Sometimes I can sweet talk them. Maybe my buyer can give them $10,000 or $20,000 to hit the bricks. Sometimes there's a threat of legal action. I'll just have to analyze every situation differently and see what the best plan is to get these people out of the property so the property can be sold and mom can have her money to move into a care community. The next problem I often deal with is the overall poor condition of the home. Very often, we find that the senior has owned the house forever, has not really kept up with repairs and maintenance, hasn't remodeled the property in years or ever, or if it's a difficult hoarder situation with a lot of junk and belongings and furniture and trash. You guys have all seen those types of houses. You know what I'm talking about. I've seen some really bad situations where you cannot believe somebody's living there. These tough situations are the ones that we specialize in. So it doesn't matter how bad the house is, we can purchase the property as is, all cash. The family does not have to clean the house out or do any repairs. They can take what they want, leave the rest. We'll do the trash out after the close of escrow. There's no realtor commissions. We're not putting in the MLS. We're going to close escrow in 2 to 3 weeks so mom and the family can have their money quick to move into the care community. We deal with a lot of families that are in crisis, that kids don't live nearby. The placement agent is just trying to get mom and dad into a nice care community. And like I said, we can come in, we solve that problem, we do it quick. It's what we're good at. And our goal is to get it done and get the family the money they need. They don't have to fix it. They don't have to declutter it. They can just walk away. Our job at Mom's House is to help you placement agents or care communities or social workers to get transition into a senior community quick in 2 or 3 weeks, not 6 months. If you have any problem situations that I discussed on this video or anything else I didn't cover, please reach out to me. I'm a problem solver. I've been in real estate for 38 years. I've done tons of probates and trust sales. I've worked with estate attorneys and probate attorneys. I've been down to the court many times to represent my probate representatives. I know how to get things done. I know how to solve problems, and working with me is going to be great. I'm going to take care of things so we can get her done and help the families and help you guys get the job finished as well. Thanks for watching. This is Derrick Ruiz. I'm a senior transition specialist with Mom's House, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.